Good fucking morning. So in today's episode, I went on a bit of a motivational, unscripted pep talk about exhaustion and why you need to stop giving a fuck about proving to everyone that you're a good person and just trust that you are a good person without overcompensating, without overextending, without doing so many favors. Easier said than done, I know, all right? You've got obligations, you've got commitments, you've got favors to do, blah, 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 blah. I hope this gives you a loving, flossy kick up the arse to stop caring about being seen as a good person and to stop associating your overextending and your exhaustion as a sign that you've done enough, as a sign that you're a good person. I love you. Let's get into it. This is for the woman that has only ever known exhaustion. And you have this belief in your head that you can only be a generous person if you have exhaustion to show for how generous you've been. You've only ever known exhaustion as a sign that you are trying hard enough in life. You might even have an identity based on, like, your only idea of being a good woman is one that is so exhausted from sacrificing herself. It doesn't even feel like sacrifice to you because you're like, well, this is just how you do it. This is just the way the world is. If you're not exhausted, you're not trying hard enough, right? If you have been able to be such a fucking generous person from a place of exhaustion, how generous would you be if you let yourself be happy? How generous would you be from a place of abundance? Honestly, the thought turns me the fuck on. Imagining how overflowing and overspilling the joy in the world would be if women everywhere believed that they can both be happy with their lives and that is also generous. We have this fucking martyrdom complex where we believe that if we don't have these receipts to prove how much we've suffered to earn our place in the world, that you're an awful, terrible fucking person. Women are socialized to believe that we are only as good of a person as we are how much of ourselves we can sacrifice to make other people happy, how small we can make ourselves to make everyone else around us feel comfortable. Which is why I like to push it the other way and give you permission to be so fucking big that you're afraid it's going to piss some people off. Because that's actually just you standing in your power. Your fullness isn't selfish. It is the single most inspiring fucking thing for other people around you to witness a woman in her power. They might not like it first of all, because they liked it when you were small. They liked you in your little role where you did everything for them and you behaved in a way that they liked, right? But what, you're going to do that for the rest of your life? No. Eventually, you'll want to murder everyone because you'll be so pissed off. After everything I've done for all of you. No. No, we're done. We're done with the martyrdom script. Women need to be done with the martyrdom script. You might have a subconscious belief in your head that tells you you need to be suffering always to be a good person. You almost use your exhaustion as this benchmark to determine, like, have I done enough? Am I a good enough person? I just think women need to be more selfish. Because what being selfish actually is just you making yourself the center of your life. But when women make themselves the center of their own lives, beautiful things happen. Beautiful things around them happen. Beautiful things happen to the woman. Beautiful thing, it just pours out of her and fertilizes everything. She's more open. She's more trusting. She's more confident. I just think it's such bullshit that we've been taught we need to prove why we deserve to earn the right to be happy by almost letting people know, well, I've been through this and I've been through this and I'm really, really, really trying. I'm really exhausted. And it's like, it just makes me sick. And then women enforce it on one another all the time by making other women apologize for their fullness. Who does she think she is? Wearing that? Who does she think she is posting on social media? Who does she think she is having these opinions? She's got a babysitter for the second time in a week. Selfish. I would never. Why is she wearing that to the school run? I would never. She wants attention, right? When women shame other women in this way, she's just enforcing her own cage on other women. Because she believes that she needs to be small in order to be good. She has been taught that she shouldn't stand out from the crowd because it's selfish and greedy to take up space. When actually, if we all just gave ourselves permission to shine in our unique, beautiful ways and live our lives according to our own rules, we would each become walking permission slips for each other to live our most delicious, embodied, juicy fucking lives, however that looks. That's why it's impossible to hate on other women when you're so full of yourself. And that phrase, full of yourself, it might make you a bit uncomfortable because we've been taught, narcissism is bad, and it is. But being full of yourself as a woman just means to be full of your own preferences, full of your own self. Women are so full of other people, sometimes you can't even request to be moved in a restaurant at the table that you want to sit at because you're like, I don't want to inconvenience the waiter by asking to move. Now you're full of that waiter. When you don't send back the food in a restaurant or when you don't post on social media, you are filling yourself with others. You're letting them direct your life. And anytime you make a decision for you, you fill yourself with yourself. You are full of yourself. When you request, oh, sorry, can I be moved to sit in the sunlight? You are full of yourself. You are asserting your needs and your desires onto the world. When you post on social media and don't give a shit about the outcome, you are full of yourself. You're not putting other people at the center of your life and basing your decisions around them. Women need to be full of themselves and put other people's opinions second. We're so afraid of being selfish, but it takes a selfish woman to be genuinely, wholeheartedly generous. It's the prerequisite for being the most compassionate, generous, open version of yourself. I get sick of everyone when I've been putting everyone else before me. I start to hate the people in my life that I love because I put them first before me. They didn't ask me to do that. I did it. Overcommitting, overextending, doing favors, saying yes to everything. No one forced me to do that shit. So why do we do it? Because we want to control the way people see us. We want to control the way people view us. We want people to continue to see us as a good friend, a good mum, a good partner, a good woman, a good feminist. And so you act as the martyr in all of these roles in your life, overextending, overcommitting, and then guess what? You hate the people. It's this compounding resentment inside you that is actually you resenting yourself because you keep ignoring your own needs. And so actually the resentment is totally misdirected. You know, you think you hate your friends because, they're always making me go to this, but actually you're annoyed at yourself because you keep crossing your own boundaries. And there's a lot of empowerment in that, in realizing you don't need to overextend yourself and interact with your life and your friends and your commitments out of obligation. Because when you realize that you are the one that's in control of your energy and where that goes, it's empowering as fuck because now you have the agency. You just need to stomach the discomfort of letting people down, which is why we avoid doing it. But I want you to know that when you avoid letting other people down, you just delay it, right? Because you're going to have to let them down in a much bigger way further down the line when you explode with resentment. I've had people end friendships with me in my past because they harbored and collected resentments towards me that were never communicated. Girls used to do this in school with each other. People do it in adulthood, right? And I'm guilty of hoarding my feelings too. I've kept stuff in my chest because I never, it's not the right time to bring it up. Oh, well, this. And before you know it, you've created an enemy in your head of someone that you love because you're festering in this sludge of resentment. And really, and this is the empowering part, the uncomfortable but empowering part, really, it's not their fault. You chose to avoid the discomfort of asserting your needs in that moment and saying, no, I can't come to this event. No, I can't help you with this project. No, don't come over at this time. No, please text me before you come over and don't come over unannounced. No, I don't like it when you talk about me and my career that way. No, I will be leaving if you do that again. No, don't talk to me like that. No, don't post photos of me on social media without asking. All of these little moments where people cross our boundaries and we don't address them in the moment feels to your subconscious and your sense of self as a self-betrayal. And I'm not saying this to blame you. This is an empowering thing. You've almost got to take such fierce responsibility of your life to the point where you can sort of accept that everyone in life is going to cross your boundaries because no one comes with rules, right? There are general social rules that we just don't cross with each other. And then there are some that people cross without knowing. And you need to be the gatekeeper of your own boundaries. You need to be the one to say, hey, could you not post a picture of me on social media without asking? And then in that moment, you give someone the opportunity to say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't think about that. I do this with all of my other friends. Thank you so much. You know, instead of going home, being pissed off about it, sweeping it under the rug, and then something else happens and you don't address that. And then eventually you just hate this person. But it's a process of tiny, small resentments that were festering. You are in control of your boundaries. You are in control of how much you overextend yourself and how much you give and the things you commit to. Cancel something in the diary that you've got in right now. Be honest with someone. Have that tough conversation that you're avoiding. Your life is in your hands. And this links to the martyrdom complex that we have as women, because this mindset and this way of being in the world, it's not our fault. We were raised to be palatable, to be likable, to sort of bend and contort ourselves to other people's idea of who they want us to be. We look at people and go, who do they need me to be in this moment so that they feel good about themselves, right? How much of myself can I sacrifice to prove I'm a good girl? And if you want to go from the desire to be seen as a good girl to not giving a fuck, you need to start doing the things that you think or that you fear make you selfish as fuck. And you know what I've realized? There is an art to being arrogant, because there is a type of arrogance that is deeply generous. I call it generous arrogance because it inspires other people to embody their full selves as well. So, for example, I've been at dinner a few times with people in LA, or I've been talking about myself to someone, and the way I talk about myself is like I am my biggest fucking fan. I can't even think of something, but I don't know, I'll be in conversation with someone and they'll be like, so what do you do? And I'll say, oh, I'm a writer, I do this, I do that. I make women feel fucking amazing about themselves. I love what I do. I'm full of passion. I love like this and this, da, 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 da. And you can see in my body, even as I talk about myself, it's like I sit up straight and I'm just so passionate. I don't downplay my love for my career and my love for myself to make the other person feel comfortable, which is something I used to do. I used to go, oh, you know, even shrinking like this, like, oh, I'm a writer and I wrote a book and blah, 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 blah. Now I'm like, yeah, I'm a record-breaking best-selling author. I do this, I do that, da, 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 da. And it's infectious. And I've met women and spoke this way about myself and they've gone, fucking hell, this is so contagious. And you can see it in their face. And I call it generous arrogance. Because there would be some people that would say, oh God, she's so full of herself. Yeah, exactly, I am. Period. You know, we all need to be full of ourselves, especially if you have a history of self-sacrificing and thinking that you need to almost portray this image of the exhausted, miserable woman. So almost 10 years ago, I created an online business using Shopify as a teenager, and that business allowed me to quit all of my jobs, drop out of university, and pursue my art full time. I chose Shopify and I've stuck with Shopify this whole time because I can customize everything, I can set the price, I can launch whenever I want and control my income. And every single time I would hear that, it was proof that my art had value. Shopify is so powerful and effortless because everything lives in one place. Your store design, your payments, your inventory, your analytics, which means that you can focus on creating instead of managing chaos. It's why millions of businesses use Shopify and why it powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Creating my store with Shopify 10 years ago is the reason I was able to create financial independence for myself. It's time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/Florence. That's shopify.com/Florence. Be the girl that starts. Since moving to LA, where it's sunny all the time, SPF is a religious part of my skincare routine. Just thinking about the longevity of my skin, I'm kind of religious about it now. I wear it every single day, and today's sponsor of the show is OneSkin, and I've been trying some of their products over the past few weeks. They're founded by an all-women team of longevity scientists, hot, and their formulas are built around their patented OS1 peptide. Born from over a decade of longevity research, OneSkin's OS1 peptide is developed to maintain healthy, resilient, glowing skin now and as you age. For a limited time, try OneSkin with 15% off using code Florence at oneskin.co/Florence. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code Florence. And after your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them I sent you. Mwah! You are allowed to be unrelatable. You're allowed to be aspirational. You're allowed to be deeply inspiring. And you need to lean into those things that you're afraid make you arrogant and selfish. You know, maybe that's getting a babysitter and not giving a shit if other mums say, oh God, who does she think she is leaving the kids at home for a night of the week, whatever. Maybe it's skipping the party and skipping the night out so that you can stay home and focus on your creative project. Maybe your friends don't understand that and they think, God, so selfish staying in to or she's so boring, right? That's fine. That's fine. Let them say that shit. Do the things that you're afraid make you deeply selfish. If you have been able to be what you consider a good person from all of this exhaustion, all of this overspending, overexhaustion, overcompensating, right? Essentially trying to get other people to see you as good through all of this overcompensating. Imagine the version of yourself that fills her own cup, that gets that good night of sleep, that stays in to complete that creative project. Imagine how much of a fucking delight that version of yourself is going to be around. Most of us fill our cups up only so full that we then empty that out and give it to everyone else. And then we fill our cups up again and then we empty that out. Rarely do women allow themselves to overflow into the saucer, right? If you've got a teacup and a saucer, it's like you fill your teacup up to the top and you go, right, time to give out, and you give it out. And it's this unsustainable cycle of filling up, emptying out, filling up, emptying out. If you allow yourself to almost hold an uncomfortable amount of abundance in time, in money, in solitude, and you let your teacup overspill into your saucer, you're just going to be overflowing. Think about how much more you're like a self-generating well of joy and generosity and gorgeousness. You're just going to fertilize everything around you. You will have so much more to give from that abundant, overflowing place of generosity than you ever would from like going to multiple events in a week that you don't have the time for, committing to favors for people that you don't have the time for, and you're going to show up with shitty energy anyway because you don't want to be there. You should also give people the chance to honor your needs. No one in life comes with a rule book about this is how I need to be treated. You have to assert those needs to other people. As the years go by, I find myself now saying multiple times a day, I need this. I can only do this meeting after this has been done. And boundaries, I've said this many times before, but boundaries, that's what you keep with yourself. So if you know that you need a good night's sleep, you have to put your ass in bed at 10 p.m. No one else can do that for you. And that's empowering. Because it means that you are the agent of where your energy goes. You have agency over your own life. And how much agency that we feel we have over our own life dictates almost, like, I don't have a statistic, right? But like so much of your mental health is dictated by whether or not you feel you have control and agency over your own life. And you can create a sense of agency over your own life by just sticking to your boundaries and sticking to the promises that you keep with yourself. I am reminded of my agency sometimes by just deleting the social media apps off my phone or putting a screen time block, right? And I feel in control of my life. Doing things I don't want to do, but I know future Floss is going to be grateful for. You know, you don't need to overextend yourself to prove that you're a good person. Stop proving. And if your actions of needing to be seen as a good person, if that's what's fueling it, then it's not well-intentioned anyway. It's bullshit. It's all image management. You're trying to manage your public image. Whether you have a public profile or not, your public image being your school, your volunteering community, your parents, your mum, your sisters, your friends, whatever's kind of like facade you're trying to keep up. How about you just be your whole fucking self and expand out of this niche fucking role that you've had, and you let yourself rebrand and you let yourself reintroduce yourself to people as, sorry, I've been going out too much and actually I really want to focus on my creative projects. Or I've not been going out enough and now I'm going to be the kind of person that goes out. I don't know. We've all got roles that we're trying to break out of in life because we created a version of ourselves that we thought would be approved of by the world. And I feel like the older you get throughout your life, it's just about breaking apart the facade that you created and letting yourself evolve into this new, beautiful, more raw, authentic and wild version of yourself that you probably were when you were a child. The version of you that hadn't yet created a means of surviving in this world where we all need to bullshit our way around life. That version of you that wanted to do fun, exciting things. Or maybe you were an introvert, right? Maybe you were the kid at school that loved to just sit in a corner and read. And that's who you are. Maybe your authentic self-expression isn't some like theater kid vibe like me where you just want to like express yourself constantly. Maybe that's not even in you. I don't know. But you don't need to prove to people that you're a good person anymore. I want you to ask yourself, journal about it, write about it in your diary, tomorrow, do it now, whenever. But I want you to ask yourself, who would I be and what would I do if I didn't need to prove that I was a good person? What would my morning look like if I wasn't so concerned with people seeing me as a good mum, a good feminist, a good friend? And what if I could just trust that I know what I'm doing and that I am a good person and that I am enough? Because though people may not understand the rhythm I'm in right now, I know that if I have my selfish morning, I'm going to be the most vibrant and alive version of myself for the rest of the week. And that is what's good for people. You know, everyone wants your 10 minutes in the morning, in the queue, on the street, at work. And you sort of give up this fodder. Like you give up your time because you want people to see. But actually, if you just said no to a few things, your cup might be full for the rest of the week. Who would you be? How would you live? What would you wear? What choices would you make for your life if you didn't need people to see you publicly exhausting yourself, trying to be a good person, what would that look like? Can you trust that that is enough? Can you trust that the values you live by make you a good person? Can you trust that you don't need to make this big, grandiose display of your suffering and your exhaustion and ending every day absolutely exhausted, overextending yourself and agreeing to favors and things so that no one has a go at you for not doing enough? I used to burn my body into the ground, burning out, to physical exhaustion instead of just telling my team, hey, I can't do that book tour. I need 5 days between these dates because of my back pain. Like, I didn't tell people those things because I wanted to be seen as the woman who could do it all. That was my ego trap, was I wanted to be seen as the woman who could just do it all. I'm not weak, I got this. I'm Florence Given, I can do anything. I want to be an example of a woman that can just fucking get shit done, right? And I didn't want to let anyone down. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I once went into a podcast recording with frozen peas on my lower back because I had fucking sciatica. And I was going to go in and interview a guest because I didn't want to let the guest down. I had sciatica. It's like an electric shock that goes from your hip down to your toes if you bend the wrong way. So you're in this constant like hunch position. It was crazy. When you don't have the courage to say, no, I can't do this, I'm exhausted, your body does it for you. And then you blame your body. And you say, oh, well, I can't do it, I'm poorly. But part of you knows that you were the cause. You did that to your body. And that's what really sucked about my burnout was I think it's probably the first time I developed a relationship with my body and with my own exhaustion was when I realized that I was the one responsible for running her into the ground. I wasn't listening to her whispers. I was poorly all the time, exhausted, burnt out, and I'm still prone to it now. I have to integrate my rest. And if I've been doing too much, that shit will happen again. And it has happened again. It's not linear. And you're never going to be, like set one boundary and then you're done for life. There are so many areas of our lives. Like you might be really good at setting boundaries with your partner because you live with them. But your friends, you're like, oh, and you realize, oh, why do I find it hard setting boundaries with women? Right? Who knows? Professionally, maybe you're really good professionally, but in your relationships, you let everyone walk all over you. It's always an ever-growing process. So, we've all got the good girl wound. Most of us have the good girl wound. I want you to experiment this week with the idea that you don't need to prove how good you are. You don't need to go the extra mile. Save some for yourself this week. Stay in that evening. Wake up later or go to bed earlier so that you can wake up earlier and be in the house when no one else is awake. Tell your partner, hey, I would like to have breakfast by myself in the garden tomorrow because I want quiet in the morning. Does that scare you? Try it. Make Sunday your day of rest. Make it non-negotiable. I don't know. What can you do this week to create a pocket for you that makes you feel so fucking selfish? And I'll bet you're way more generous throughout the rest of the fucking week because you filled your own cup first. Imagine how much you could give to the people around you and to your work and to your creativity if you let your teacup overspill into the fucking saucer. Yeah? Oh my God, okay. I think I'm going to wrap that up there. I just had to hop on here and chat with you about that because I'm writing about it right now. And I just wrote this question. How insanely beautiful would the world be if women believed that their joy and their aliveness and their wild, full self was the most generous thing that they could offer the planet? Instead of the current script we have, which is, how much of myself can I exhaust and sacrifice and give out to prove that I am a good enough woman, a good enough feminist, a good enough friend, a good enough mom? What if how alive we feel became like the new currency for how well we're doing it, you know? And I don't say this to make you feel exhausted, like, oh, fucking hell, Floss. I've got this to do, I've got this to do, I've got this to do. And now you want me to be full of life as well? I get it, okay? When I was burnt out, if someone had told me to fucking meditate or take a Sunday off for myself, I would have wanted to kill them. And that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that you don't overextend this week. There is one thing that you can do this week, and you know it. Even as I'm saying it now, maybe there's something in your calendar and you're resenting going, and you know that you don't have to do this thing. But the only reason you're doing this thing is out of guilt and obligation. Reschedule it. Start easy, reschedule. Yeah, reschedule it. Don't need to cancel, reschedule. Do things on your terms. You can design your life. Don't let others design it for you. I wrote that in my last book. When you don't design your life, others design it for you. Your life becomes full of other people's fucking preferences. Isn't it selfish of them to have your life dictated by what they want? They're being selfish. You should be too. Start imprinting your desires into the world and into your own life. That's the work of art. That's why you're here. Your life is supposed to be this beautiful unfolding of your unique imprint on this planet that only you can fucking live. It doesn't even matter if someone grew up in the same town as you and is the same gender as you, the same race as you, the same age as you. You have a unique fucking imprint on this world because of your unique thoughts and cultural influences and experiences. Forge it out. Express yourself. And self-expression is also in the form of boundaries and how you like to spend your time and where you like to put your energy. Express you. Put more of you into your own life. Because sometimes the reason you fucking hate your life and you want to strangle everyone because you haven't had a day's rest, sometimes it's because there isn't enough of you in your life. Put you in the equation this week and be fucking selfish. All right. That's it. Floss's unscripted, half an hour long fucking pep talk. I love you so much. And I'll see you next week. Mwah!